In today's video, we'll show you how to properly install a straight cable run using HAAS stainless lag swage turnbuckle assemblies, lag swage stops, and straight post protectors. The first step in the installation process will require us to drill 1/2-inch diameter holes for our end post at the hole measurement marks that we previously marked using our marking template. In order to receive the best results, we recommend using a 1/2-inch chisel point spur tip spade bit to drill your holes, since they tend to drill fairly straight and clean holes. To start, set the drill to its highest speed and then level and center the drill bit to the best of your ability. Begin drilling your hole, ensuring that you partially back out the drill bit to clear any wood chips. Continue drilling until the hole reaches a depth of 1.5 inches. Once completed, drill the remaining holes on the post, and then repeat the same process to the other end post in your system. Using a 3/8-inch chisel point spur tip spade bit, set the drill at its highest speed and begin drilling a little more than halfway into the post, ensuring that you partially back out the drill bit to clear any wood chips. Switch to the opposite side of the post and begin drilling until the two holes meet, making one clean hole through the post. Repeat this process for the remaining intermediate posts in your run until all of the holes have been drilled. Now we'll install our lag receivers. Set your drill to its lowest setting and use a 3/8-inch hex socket bit to center and level the lag receiver in relation to the hole. Press firmly and begin drilling the lag receiver into the hole until it has been completely inserted and seats just below the surface of the post. If you're not using a drill, you can also use a 3/8-inch hex key wrench or ratcheting wrench. Once installed, screw the remaining lag receivers into the post and repeat the same process for the other end post in your cable run. The next step in the installation will be to thread the cable through any intermediate posts in your run. Slide a straight post protector onto the cable so that its face is facing away from the post and looks as shown. Insert the cable in through the post and then slide on another straight post protector as previously done on the opposite side of the post. Now slide on the lag receiver cap so that the face of the lag receiver and straight post protector are facing one another. Now that we've run our cable, insert the cable end into the lag swage stud cavity and push the cable in until it completely bottoms out. Place the lag swage stud into the jaws of the swager that correspond with the size of your stud. Position the stud so that the jaws are correctly seated below the swage area mark and are flush with the end of the swage stud. Now, completely close the handles of the swager and make your first swage. Once complete, open the swager jaws, rotate the stud 90 degrees, and then make your second and final swage on the stud. Insert the stud into the opening of the lag receiver until it hits the threaded hole at the back of the receiver. Rotate the cable and stud clockwise so that the stud is completely threaded into the receiver and stops turning. Slide the lag receiver cap up the cable and push the cap into the receiver opening so that it sits flush with the surface of the post. With the lag swage stop now installed, insert the straight post protectors into their respective holes for all the intermediate posts in your run. The next step in our installation will be to assemble the turnbuckle for our lag swage turnbuckle tensioning assembly. First, locate the turnbuckle threaded stud. Insert and thread the larger diameter end into the receiver and screw it in until it can no longer be turned. Now slide the turnbuckle receiver cap over the side of the turnbuckle you just threaded into the receiver and push it into the hole so that it sits flush with the surface of the post. Now thread the turnbuckle body onto the side you've just installed so that the threads are just hidden inside the turnbuckle body. Now thread the swage side of the turnbuckle into the turnbuckle body so that its threads are just hidden inside the turnbuckle body. Once completed, your turnbuckle should now be assembled and look as shown. The next step in our assembly will be to measure, cut, and then attach the cable to the turnbuckle. To start, pull the cable tight and place it alongside the swage cavity of the turnbuckle end. Locate the second mark on the cavity and draw a line on the cable at the mark. Using a Tyler tool cable cutter, cut the cable at the mark you've just made. Unscrew the swage end from the turnbuckle body and then insert the cable into the swage cavity until it completely bottoms out. Using a Tyler tool hand swager, make 2 separate swages at the swage area of the fitting as previously done for the lag swage stud. Once completed, unscrew the turnbuckle body from the turnbuckle stud. Then place the turnbuckle body between the turnbuckle swage stud and the turnbuckle stud and simultaneously thread the turnbuckle body onto both fittings by hand. Repeat this entire installation process for the remaining cable runs in your system until they have all been tightened by hand. Once all of your cable runs have been installed and tightened by hand, it's important to follow this tensioning sequence to make sure that each cable is holding an equal amount of tension. To begin tensioning the first run in the tensioning sequence, we recommend attaching a pair of locking pliers at these points on each end of the turnbuckle. This will prevent the turnbuckle ends from rotating and will allow the turnbuckle body to properly tension the cable. Insert a 7/64 hex wrench or similar tool into the small hole of the turnbuckle body and begin turning it clockwise until your cable reaches the tension needed for your system. Continue this process throughout the entire tensioning sequence, and once completed, double check that each cable is holding the same amount of tension in relation to the other cables in your system. If not, retighten any loose cables until all of the cables are equally tensioned. Your straight cable run is now complete and should look as shown.